Thank you again for becoming a part of our Senior Age family. You now share in our important story, and we look forward to the chapters you will help us write. In this video, we want to introduce you to our history so that you can gain a greater sense of our organization, who we are, and who we will strive to continue to be with your help. This telling of our history is not just dates and figures. We're focusing on how our past continues to affect and influence our present and our future. We're looking at how things that came before in our organization will continue to impact your service. We believe you can better fulfill our agency's mission in the future if you have a sense of our past and of how we got to this point. We decided the best image to communicate and capture our story through time is one that should be familiar to you by now. It is the picture of our mission, working together, finding options, and bettering lives. This isn't just our mission for today. This has been our history for our whole existence. Our whole history can be told through these three lenses: working together, finding options, and bettering lives. Like any other organization, though, words are not enough. Our identity is primarily seen in what we do. We think you're going to be impressed with all we've accomplished in our story to this point, and we hope it challenges you to live up to the high bar of expectation we have set for ourselves throughout our history. From a practical standpoint, what fuels both our words and our actions is our funding. We cannot appropriately tell our story, and you cannot adequately understand our history without a sense of how we are funded and organized. Our funding works very much like a classic fishing net. Open it as wide as possible and catch as many fish as possible. Woven together, a net is stronger than any one single thread. Tangle it up and it can be difficult to unravel. But when it's in good practice, the fishing net is flexible, able to bring in all sorts of assistance to the agency, and it's very effective. Our funding streams, no fishing pun intended there, may seem complicated to you, but we hope you'll understand them better through this training. Every source of funding for us represents the first part of our mission, working together. We work together with a lot of different groups to secure funding for our work. The largest and most important fish, if you will, to our agency is the federal government, which oversees the Older Americans Act. This is the legislation that eventually created the network of area agencies on aging, of which SeniorAge is one. We have a whole training on the Older Americans Act that you can also view if you haven't already. Across the United States, there are 622 area agencies on aging responsible for seeing that nutrition, access, and information services are provided to folks 60 years of age or older, or those who serve as their caregivers. In Missouri, there are 10 area agencies on aging, each serving a different region of the state. SeniorAge covers 17 counties in the southwest section of Missouri. The Administration for Community Living, or ACL, coordinates the work of the Administration on Aging, which is the principal agency designated to carry out the provisions of the Older Americans Act. The ACL also sponsors several grants which we as an agency often pursue, either individually or collectively with the other area agencies on aging in Missouri. The Administration on Aging, or AOA, is the office that allocates funds to each state using a distribution formula that takes multiple variables into account, including demographics, poverty levels, and other factors. You can see there the timeline on some of these things. The Older Americans Act was passed in 1965. The ACL and the AOA came later after that. Within the state government, the Department of Health and Senior Services, or DHSS, distributes the funds received by the state from the federal government. The state uses a similar funding formula based on senior census, economic need, and other factors, and distributes those funds to the 10 area agencies on aging in Missouri. SeniorAge currently receives a little over 14% of the funding that Missouri receives from the Older Americans Act. Each agency on aging writes an area plan and submits it to the Missouri DHSS. It mainly tells the state how we will work together with them. Once it gets approved, DHSS monitors our performance through monthly financial and performance reports. They also conduct annual financial and management audits to ensure we meet all federal and state regulations. Documentation that you provide regarding the number of people we serve and the services we offer all get reported by the home office to DHSS. In addition to federal and state assistance, almost all of our centers benefit from county support of one kind or another in their local home county. These benefits can take a lot of different forms. 11 of our 17 counties have funding through County Senior Service Funds, which is a voter-approved tax of 5 cents per $100 of property tax. This provides services to those 60 and over who live in that county. Each of the 11 counties have a board of directors who are appointed by county commissioners and are responsible for reviewing grant requests and allocating the funds collected. Facility usage is another way we benefit from local counties or municipalities. Some of our senior centers are located in city-owned buildings, where the city often provides the space rent-free and helps with the ongoing maintenance of the building. In coordination with the local emergency management personnel, senior center buildings often provide cooling or warming locations in times of inclement weather or community disasters. We also coordinate with local disaster management authorities, and every senior age center has a continuity of operations plan in place. Some counties and cities offer snow removal, mowing, and landscaping areas and services where the county or city comes alongside us and helps make sure that our centers are accessible and manicured. So let's back up a little bit and return more to our individual story. Although every area agency on aging has different ways of accomplishing the overall mission of the Older Americans Act, all of us offer 5 mandated core services under the Older Americans Act. Nutrition, which includes our center dining meals and our home delivered meals. Health and wellness programs involving our foot care, exercise, and evidence-based education programs like Matter of Balance. Supportive services include information and assistance, in-home services support, transportation, care coordination, and legal services. Caregiver support is very important to us as well. 29% of all Americans are in a caregiving relationship to a loved one. That number will only grow as the boomer generation continues to mature. Elder rights includes abuse prevention and the nursing home ombudsman program. Those are the 5 mandated core services: nutrition, health and wellness, supportive services, caregiver support, and elder rights. In addition to those 5 core programs, all of the area agencies on aging also have local hotlines or websites to provide consumers with information and assistance and other services. We also benefit from a variety of other programs and organizations. The Elder Care Locator, the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging, and the Missouri Association of Area Agencies on Aging are all services or groups with which Senior Age often collaborates. One other very interesting group is the Silver-Haired Legislature. They're comprised of 150 volunteers, 12 representatives, and 3 senators from each of the 10 area agencies on aging in Missouri. During their 2-year terms, they travel to Jefferson City and they promote legislation that's in the best interest of Missouri's older adults. Local communities are another way that we benefit from various organizations and groups with whom we work. In our local communities, we have center boards that act in an advisory role, working with the center administrator or the regional lead to determine what services are needed and how best to deliver them. These center boards represent our closest and most important relationship for working together. A few of our counties still have councils on aging who serve in a funding capacity to help apply for and manage funding opportunities for the local senior center. And then we have all sorts of different groups as well that we benefit from and that provide extraordinary volunteers to us. Volunteers who deliver home meals or prepare taxes and help our senior centers thrive. All sorts of groups can contribute to this, whether it be the Chamber of Commerce, local churches, a Lions Club, the Rotary, ministerial alliances. They all have important relationships with us. No one nonprofit can do everything by itself. We know the need is greater than any one of us. That's why we also work together with a number of community partners. The organizations listed on this slide represent just a few of the dozens of agencies with whom we collaborate. By pooling knowledge and resources, we are best able to assure seniors and their families have access to comprehensive care. Transitioning from working together to finding options, this is the part of our story that probably speaks to your heart most and compels you to do the work that you do, the services that we offer. We have an entire video dedicated to these various program offerings so that you can know all the wonderful things we offer the seniors in our communities. But we list them here in part to reinforce once more the width and the breadth of how much all of our centers do every single day to touch the lives of seniors. Many of these are services we have provided for our entire 45-year history. Some we just started in the past year or two. But together, our services demonstrate why we are the premier and most trusted organization serving seniors in the Ozarks. Each picture on this screen represents thousands, even tens of thousands, of seniors to whom we have provided help over the past 45 years. More than 1 million meals are served and delivered every year. Millions of dollars in tax returns go back to vulnerable seniors every year. Thousands of senior volunteers provide life-changing service every single day. We believe that what we do matters. We believe that we make a difference in people's lives. We don't save the world in one huge, one-time act of heroism. We make a difference one person at a time, one day at a time. That is our promise. That is our vision. That is our story. And we're sticking to it. These are some of the milestones of important years in our history. Each of these milestones reflect innovation, hard work, growth, and progress. What started with 3 employees and no centers now encompasses more than 200 employees, 3 dozen senior centers, and a mass production site for our frozen meals. It is amazing to consider how much we have grown. If you would, take a moment right now and find the start date of your center or work site. I encourage you to talk to the seniors, the other employees, and the volunteers at your local work site or center and find the personal history of what your center has meant to your town and to the people you serve. You'll be amazed and moved by these stories. We have had some very important and momentous dates in our history. We believe that the day you were hired is another of those momentous days. We're glad that you have joined our story, and we thank you in advance for the wonderful chapters you will help us write.